Hello everyone, my name is Malwina Stach. I'm here with the Mare Priestess, Ellie Brucia. She is a tarot reader and sound healer.
Yes, and this is Malwina. I've had her on my channel before. I interviewed her about one of her greatest life passions, which is lucid dreaming. She's a lucid dreaming teacher, a psychologist, so many things, yoga teacher, life coach as well, an intuitive life coach.
Yes.
Is that it? Because there's so much.
Yeah,
pretty much. And an artist.
Yeah, last time we had such a nice conversation. Actually, each time we meet, we got so much into different topics. We go so deep that we decided that we're gonna talk on camera about different things. And lately, the theme which is coming out in my life, it's a theme of the femininity, the womanhood, what it means to be woman, what it is, how does it feel. And we spoke about it with Ellie a lot lately, and we decided we're gonna talk about it so we can share our insights about this topic with you, because maybe you will find something that resonates. Maybe we can share some similar issues maybe around that topic, because of course there are some. Definitely we're still growing, we're still developing and discovering ourselves as women in each stage of our lives. So
Yeah, so as Malwina said, we've been talking about this topic recently, and you right now are going through a journey or a process, you could say, and you're exploring your divine feminine, your femininity, the kind of woman that you actually are. Is that the best way to put it?
Yeah, actually it is. It's not the woman I would like to be, or somebody or society or parents want me to be, or even my partner. It's the woman I am, actually. And what does it mean to be that? And I wanted to ask you, what does it mean for you to be woman?
Ooh, okay. Well, I actually, you know what? I think now's a good time to mention our attire today. So Malwina had this inspired idea to do this video, and then she was saying, let's dress up in like what we consider feminine colors, feminine themes. So for me, and as you mentioned, I'm a tarot reader, and my favorite card has always been the High Priestess, which is one of the archetypes of the divine feminine, which I personally very much identify with, and perhaps all women identify with that. Certainly a lot of women tarot readers do, and so I'm dressed up sort of divine feminine High Priestess style today. I'm wearing these lunar colors. It's sort of a silvery blue robe that I'm wearing right now, the robe of a priestess. And to me, I learned through my esoteric studies, and particularly with tarot, and if you are familiar with the High Priestess, she wears, the color is blue primarily. So to me that represents the passive principle of woman. And in our society, when we think of passive, we usually have a negative connotation that goes with it. But this is not meant in that way. When I say this more as like a receptive sort of principle, which is not better or worse than the giving or the active principle that is characterized for males or the masculine. You know, that I love about the High Priestess is that she is so powerful, but she's not powerful in a way that she has to prove herself.
Perfect.
She's not external about it. She just holds her own. And
she is in it. She is in her power.
Exactly. And she has this deep knowing and this intuition. I mean, intuition is one of the big keywords when it comes to talking about the divine femininity. So she has that going on. She's tuned in to the divine and serves as a conduit, actually, as the priestess. And so I'm just kind of embodying that right now in my chosen attire for today, kind of dressing priestess style.
Beautiful.
Yeah, white dress, and blue robe. To me, blue and white are very feminine colors. I mean, the Virgin Mary is depicted in those colors as well. And the mother goddess Yamanya, who's my personal matron deity, also has those colors, and she's the mother of all the fish. And all life comes from that.
I can see this little beautiful starfish on your hair.
Thanks. Yeah.
I think you had that on your wedding.
Yes, this is probably the one I wore on my wedding day. I have 2 of them. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I have an oceanic thing going on. I think of the element earth, and I think of the element water when I think of feminine. That's through my esoteric studies with the tarot and beyond that. But it makes perfect sense. It is said that all life comes from the ocean, and I think maybe there's something to that. The womb of the earth, this really deep, mysterious place that is the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you felt inspired to wear this beautiful red. I love this color. I'm loving red lately. Outfit, and you were saying before off camera that you feel like this is a representative of the kind of woman that you're like feeling into and morphing into or expressing. Am I putting that right?
It's like if I could say that what does it represent for me is just this specific moment, is just this specific day.
Yeah.
It's not always like that.
Yeah.
And I just dressed what I felt, which is resonating with me right now. So this is the thing. Like you talk about the womb, you talk about the ocean, the depth of the ocean. For me, the color red represents womb. I don't know if you're aware of that in indigenous cultures, and they basically use the color red for healing. Because when we are in the womb of our mothers, the only color we see is red, right? So it's like where's our beginning actually, where we are in a state of presence, and from where we dream the life which we're gonna have. So when we live our life and things are not going always right, and sometimes we get ill and stuff like that, we return to the womb and we reprogram, we restart ourselves, we resolve problems. So as you know, I'm a lucid dreaming teacher. There is this practice in lucid dreaming where you create consciously your dream as a red place. You create everything, the walls, the couches, the space becomes red, the red healing dream. And you just immerse there, and you just let go of everything, and you create yourself anew. So the red color represents that. It also represents the first chakra, which is connected with mother. And normally I don't wear makeup, and I feel the most feminine when I don't do. But I also like sometimes wear red lipstick. I just feel it sometimes, and the most important for me is that it doesn't come from the place of insecurity or trying to show something, or it's just comes from the place that I feel playing with the color, and I found it very feminine, and I feel there are moments when I feel like feminine when I have red lipstick, because it's like trying to express that I have something to express, trying to show I have something to express, and it's just like kind of a putting an accent on my lips. I'm a kind of a person who likes to talk a lot, who likes to express itself through teaching, through talking. So this is for me what's going on. It's kind of a symbolic for me. And what it means to be woman for me is to be completely connected with myself, with my heart, be authentic in who I am, and then in that space the feminine qualities, they just show up. So it's not like I'm exercising in my life the feminine qualities, I'm trying to be more feminine because this is considered to be feminine and this is not considered to be feminine. It's more of I follow whatever feels right inside of me. I'm truly connected with my body. I feel the conversation I have with it. I hear the messages it tells me. I follow them. So that's why sometimes this feminine means something else than the other day. And in this process of refining my connection with my body, with myself, being who I truly am, the feminine is just flowing. This is the funny thing. When I started to think about this topic about feminine, I was wondering where in my life I do exhibit the qualities of a feminine. And I realized that actually when I teach. When I teach, I feel like I care about people I teach. I want to nourish them with my knowledge. I care about how they feel. I want to look after them while this process is happening. So I am more like a mother rather than a teacher itself. I feel I have such a warmth which is coming out from me then, because I really care. I look at all these faces, look into these people's eyes who come to listen, who come to learn something. And I really feel like a mother. And I did not realize that before. I never thought about it. But then when we decided to do this video and I started to think about this topic, then I do exhibit the femininity in me the most when I teach.
I can relate, because I've been a teacher too. And I've been told by my students, I never considered myself that maternal, but my own students have told me they found me maternal. And then I realized that I was doing a maternal role as a teacher. So I can totally relate to what you're saying.
Yeah. I also have heard a lot of times that somebody said, oh, you could be a good mother. Oh, you have such a motherly way of being. And I was like, what? I didn't understand that time what it means. Now I understand more. But at the same time, when I teach, I'm the most aligned. So you see, so the feminine is not something which is separate from my authentic pleasure of expressing myself. It's not separate. But it wasn't always like that. It was a long journey. I used to have a short hair. I used to have a hair like a boy when I was like 15 up till maybe 17, 18. My hair was short, like a boy. And I wear like a saggy clothes, and I would like to, you know, do roller skates, and I've been this like kind of a skatey girl and hiding my breasts. And I always heard from people saying, you're so feminine. I'm like, what? I did not ever consider myself feminine ever. So it was interesting to hear that from people. Even now when people they say, oh, you're so feminine, I had to really kind of attune in to understand what they mean. I'm just knowing that I'm just being myself, whatever it means. And then this feminine thing is shining through. And so that's very interesting what other people consider to be feminine and not.
When you were talking about finding that your maternal self was coming out so much as a teacher, it made me think about how a maternal role does not have to be limited to their offspring.
Yes.
We can be maternal, yes, as teachers, as mentors. We can be maternal with our pets. We can be maternal with our friends, within the community. I mean, in so many ways. It's interesting to me. I just wanted to mention that because I think that's very interesting. My mentor actually is very much a mother. Such a mother, oh my gosh. And she said that she shared a story where years ago someone told a sort of prophetic fortune to her and said, you will be a mother to many. And at first she was like, really? Because I had my children and then I had my tubes tied. Are you sure? You know, she was thinking more like traditionally at first. But years down the line, she realized, oh my gosh, yes, I am a mother because she's been like, she's a YouTube presence. She's Jacqueline Dubois on YouTube, if any of you want to find her. She's been a teacher not just to me and a mentor not just to me but to many people, and she's such a mother figure. Oh my gosh. to so many people, and to me as well. And she's got that loving, nurturing, radiating sort of thing going on. And so we're really not limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the funny thing. I lately realized that too, because I also had one person who was doing a numerology for me. He said that you will have your family, but you're going to become a mother for many. That's a similar thing I've heard, and I could not even think of that before. But now I understand what it means. When I truly gave myself to my passion, which is teaching, I started to discovering these qualities in me which other people could see in me, but I could never see in myself. So I completely resonate with that. Let's see how it goes along the way.
Yeah.
But this is funny that at the moment I do not feel called to have my own kids yet. I don't have that mother instinct towards, such a strong mother instinct towards having my own children right now yet. But at the same time I use these qualities of motherhood are coming out, so they're kind of fulfilled in a different way. This is very interesting.
It is really interesting. You know, it's sort of like, you know, creative energy, which it essentially really is, you know. Be channeled in so many different ways. Infinite, really.
Yeah, actually, if I could say the most happy I am when I create, if it's painting or writing or teaching, because also I noticed that now the teaching is not like before when I was still
constricted.
Yeah.
Constricted,
and I tried, but it wasn't yet there. Now it started coming up by itself. And sometimes when I say something, it's like I've heard it for the first time from myself, so it becomes such a channeling. And I think it has this creativity, it has this feminine energy so much in it. So it's incredible.
Yeah.
But I also would like to talk today not only about these things, what it means for us to be a woman and all these things, but what's going on in the world in general. Because I am not, I am not a person who has no issues, you know. And I am kind of going in terms with the topic of feminine and womanhood and dealing with dealing with people who are trying to box me what woman means in our culture, and if I don't fulfill these kind of expectations, then of course I am not seen as enough or a woman of power, which is for me no problem. But I do feel these moments when sometimes I just put it into some boxes, that women should do this, women should do that, women should be this, and I actually started to have some emotional reactions within me. I felt there's some conflict, and I resolve a lot of things in my dreams. So I asked my subconscious to show me the message in the dream, and the dream came. It was actually a few days ago, where I felt even more inspired to make this video with you. I dreamt I broke up a relationship with a woman. She had the short hair, so she was kind of like a masculine type of woman, I guess. And I remember I told her, like deep from my heart, that, listen, I feel you expect me to be a kind of woman which I don't want to be. Therefore, it's better if we become friends, and you will meet somebody who will fulfill your needs. I told her, I am not this typical Polish mother, as we say, matka Polka, it says in Polish, which is a woman who, look after the house, working, does everything by herself, needs to do this, that, sacrifice everything just to have a family. And I feel like I have more to give in the world. I feel I have such a potential which needs to be expressed outside of my family, that I felt that if I would only do that, be just a mother, giving birth, raising kids, be a wife, be a woman only, in this sense of, as I said before, I would feel like I'm imprisoned. I would feel I can't move. I would feel limited.
So you were saying before off camera to me that you actually had a period in your life where you were in a relationship and you were embodying and exploring the archetype of the woman that takes care of the home and cooks and decorates the home and has that very nurturing hearth and home sort of thing going on, and you loved it.
Yeah.
But you also felt that you had this particular creative calling, this life purpose that was not that, actually. Even though you really enjoy doing all those things, you felt compelled to teach and do other sort of expressive creative things, and it was your soul's calling. And so that was something that was a conflict for you, or
it was like I gave all this creative energy I had was fulfilled by me being a so-called housewife. And I haven't been married, I lived with somebody, but I felt so good. It was beautiful because I was creative in the kitchen, I was creative at home, I worked, and I was looking after the home as well. And I felt great, and I had great relationship, was really good in this sense. But I felt that this person expected me to be just this. That kind of it threatened him for me to be more than that, and therefore there was no space for me to be more than that. And after some time, although this feminine energy was really invested and it was really making me feel so good, and I felt so safe with this man, and I could really express myself in so many ways, my soul was dying inside. I felt there was no space, no time to do anything else. And after some time I just felt such a crisis. I was losing weight, I was unhappy inside within myself. I felt the potential which I had wasn't used. And that was making me feel really not happy about myself and happy in my life in general. So although and there was no way to find the balance in it that time, and that there was no way to find a solution to that. There was more things why it didn't work at the end, but I must say I loved it. I loved baking cakes, I loved baking different cookies. I was so creative around that, it was amazing. I just felt so good to see how happy this man was. I could do everything to basically I was wifing and mothering, at the same time. And it felt so good, and I realized, oh my god, maybe I need a baby, because I'm actually having this mothering nature coming out a lot with this man, more than a feminine and sensual and sexy and what I needed to feel. So that was also like missing at that time. So it's very interesting, this experience for me, but there is nothing stronger than the soul calling I have inside. And I know that this balance is really important, and I really bow down to women who are sacrificing everything for their families and stuff. If that's all what they need to do and they want to do, that's beautiful, there's nothing wrong with that. But I know there are women which I meet at my work, which come into me, which are actually conflicted, and they feel they give everything to the family, but they don't really have a space or support from their partners to really do what they love, and they actually feeling like they're dying, like a flowers without water. And this is very important to talk about, in public about that. So not only this, there's also they're starting to identify with these roles which their partners want them to be, rather than being who they really want to be and who they really are actually. That they becoming giving away the power to their partners. It's in a way I could say that their partners not only hijack their bodies, but hijack their hearts, their minds. What I mean by hijacking is, I'm not saying that men do it in purpose. It becomes like an unconscious process when basically women tend to feel themselves as they are here just to pleasure their man in many ways, to feed or to give the body, even when they don't want to, when they don't feel like they do it. So they kind of hijack, they kind of let them to hijack their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that. I had that experience in my life where I felt like I don't own my body.
Mm-hmm.
Like my body became like kind of a somebody else's more than mine. And when this relationship broke up, I realized, oh my God, I have a body. It's mine. It's my home. I'm in it. I decide what's happening with it. You know, so and when I go to like female circles, I've heard this a lot.
Mm.
You know, when you say yes, when you actually want to say no, and all these kind of things which are coming up in women in their experiences. This is so interesting that, you know, the way we look it becomes like to fulfill the eyes of a man we are with, instead of like really doing what we truly feel inside. I mean, there's a difference when you know, I feel the most feminine when I'm with a man who allows me to be who I am, like who creates this, allows me, is too much to say, who creates the space where I feel fully myself and I can express myself, and then I naturally want to explore him and what he likes.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're with a man who said, no, you should be like this, I like this, and like this, and be like this, then you just feel like a prison, a pressure, and you don't even want to give. You don't feel like you want to give. You feel more like, oh, what's going on here, you know? And you say, no, I don't want. You feel resistance. You don't want that. Mm-hmm. So it's also, I think, yeah, I think it's important to know with who we are sharing our feminine gifts, and if this is appreciated and also nourished, and there's a space for this to organically, naturally coming out, or there's somebody who's restricting you to be the kind of person they want you to be, instead of just letting you to explore yourself and him. So this is also a topic which is really important nowadays, because we can see this, what's going on. You know, the media, how they portray women as bodies, as parts of the bodies, you know, which are like in commercials, which is not even a woman herself, it's just her feminine parts of the bodies, which are, you know, exhibited next to some products. And how does it affects young women growing up? That they is trying to be women or girls who are liked by other guys, instead of thinking about, do I like myself the way I am? Do I really feel the way I am is okay? Do I really love my body and I like myself that way? No, it becomes like a, I don't know, disconnection. So when we disconnect from ourselves, we disconnect from all the gifts we have, feminine, masculine, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So do you notice it? Do you have any...
Sorry. Just, oh, okay, just double checking.
Yeah, do you have any kind of intuition about that, or any things you could relate to or see?
Yeah, I think, well, yeah, I think you touched on several things within that, what you were saying. Let me see, which one do I want to bring up that it brings up for me? Let's see. Well, you mentioned the self-worth thing, and it just, that got my brain going a bit, because I think that women nowadays really have a big issue with self-worth, more than men, it seems. And I feel that that's coming from a place of imbalance, that's coming from a place of disharmony, you know? Because there is, you know, there's a masculine power to be respected and revered, and there's also a womanly power that is to be respected and revered. And, you know, I was sharing in the beginning my perspective of one of the archetypes, one of the big archetypes that embodies that particular brand of power, so to speak, or that that flavor, right, so to speak. I feel like, yeah, you know, there's a body there's like a disharmony with the self and the body for women, and then yeah, it's also the self-worth that's related with it. It's, Yeah, really interesting, you know, so that's what it made me think about. And then another thing it made me think about was, again, that word constricting or contracting. I really think, you know, because women are very receptive, as I mentioned before, there is something very much about being open.
Yes.
The topic of, you know, with certain things, like those dynamics that you were talking about, for example, which you gave several of, you know, that can make a woman, close up. When, you know, a woman, you know, one of their big things is they open, they receive.
Yes, yes.
And, you know, and we were talking about this before off camera. I think that a lot of women, when they don't want to have sex with their partner, it's not usually because they're lacking libido. I mean, every case is different, of course. But I think that most of the time, it's emotional.
Yes.
It's mental too, I guess. But it's basically it's about not feeling open and needing to feeling that they need to constrict for some reason.
Yes.
And then that's the thing to be addressed. Not like, hey, you know, we're not having sex. It's like, well, why aren't we? What's going on internally with my partner?
Yeah.
I'm thinking from the male perspective, like, the ideal way to approach it is like, well, what's going on? Because this is obviously an internal thing.
Yeah.
You know? So you're making me think about that as well.
Yeah, I've read an article the other day about that, how important for women is to feel safe around the men they are having sex with.
Yeah.
Safety is really important for women. It's not about, you know, this new age, you need to find the safety inside of you, you need to find the love inside of you. But what if you are with a man who's dangerous for you and you sense it? Dangerous in a way, it can be abusive, it can be some manipulation going on which we are sensing but we cannot conceive yet. You know, there's a lot of things going on. Or just you are with a man who's not stable, who is conflicted himself, who is in chaos. You don't feel there's this stability and harmony inside which you need to open. It's the same with the dance. I always say this example with dance. When man is actually stable and he leads you in a harmonic way, it's just so much easier to follow. But when man has come up and he's trying to dance with you and act in a chaotic way, what do? You don't want to fall, so then you resist, so then you try to control. You are the woman in power controlling the situation to not fall. It doesn't mean you don't want to surrender to a man, which is a part of the feminine nature, to surrender, to be led sometimes, to allow it to happen. It's not that we don't want to, it's that sometimes there are just men who are not yet, I don't know, stable enough or balanced enough, or, you know, you just don't feel you can let go with them and feel safe.
Yeah.
And I've read that it's so important for women to feel that she can feel so safe, that she can let go. And women who have issues with orgasms is actually because that there's no ability for them to let go.
I've heard about that. Yeah. And you know,
need to control the situation. They can't just.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Also, what you said, I'm trying to remember now, oh yes, okay, I can relate to what you were talking about actually, because there have been moments when I was making love to a man. I mean, this is a distinction to make. For me, when I notice these moments, when I'm making love to a man, there is this open giving of myself. It's like, yes, I'm yours, you know, it's that kind of dynamic. It's beautiful.
Yes, so beautiful.
Yeah. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes. So it's completely different level of experience, and but you know, sometimes we meet men who are like, oh, you're so dominant, why don't you surrender? And then I say, listen, if I feel in my heart, I cannot be guided by you, because you're guiding me against my heart. How can I surrender? Let's meet on the level of the hearts, where I can see that you know where you're going, so I can feel safe, and I can feel, you know, you know, safe basically. It doesn't mean I don't feel safe when I'm on my own. No. But I definitely can distinguish when I'm with a man who doesn't feel healthy for me, and I don't feel safe, and with a man who is actually found himself to the moment that he can be this space where I could just be. But it doesn't mean it always has to be like this, because we are human, we go through our phases, and men also sometimes get lost and all these things, but there has to be this kind of this feeling inside, and our body speaks, our wombs speak so much, and they tell you when you're feeling everything is fine, and when they're feeling you there's not. And there's also so many traumas we hold in our wombs from generations to generations, so it is already not so easy to open up. And then on top of that there's other things. So it's not only us, the feminine, and comes into play and expresses itself, but also masculine. Men are finding themselves, what it means for them to be a man outside of the role of a man archetype, and I think this is a beautiful process which is going on naturally. So when the man finds himself here, I think the masculine is expressing himself naturally as well, and we as women need to find also the space to allow them to find themselves. So it's not only me, us saying, oh, men are not this, not that. No, I think it's a dance,
I really loved the yogic, is it yogic or was it Hindu example of the what is it, Shiva Lingam?
Shiva Lingam, yeah.
I loved that
Shakti.
example that you gave, where the masculine principle is, you're saying it's sturdy, right? And then the woman is doing
the water,
the dance,
the water, yeah.
around. That makes sense to me, definitely.
Yeah. So this is the thing, when man becomes lingam, when he becomes still in his mind, the woman, she can become Kali, she can be, Kuan Yin, doesn't matter, he's become still. Then we surrender, because we know we accepted her. Each woman is so multidimensional, like in so many ways.
Yeah.
And they say a woman is not here to be understood, it's here to be loved and accepted. So it's so much easier to then find, like I notice from my experience, when I am around somebody who's more stable, then I am so harmonic and my energy is so aligned. But when I'm with somebody who's himself flaky, then I don't feel, I need to be then very masculine and very, very still and very like, I need to control, I need to be logical, I need to be rational, I need to be all these things, because around this man who's so flaky, I just feel like I need to control. It just comes naturally.
Yeah.
And then I can let go when somebody's in control. I can let go, I can, express myself fully, and then it's beautiful. So I think it's all a process of learning this, to be around ourselves, each other, etc.